I've spent my whole life either surrounded by or practicing yoga. From the time I was a young boy, it was as much a part of my life as school or baseball or surfing at the beach with my friends. I grew up in San Francisco, where my parents opened one of the first yoga schools and natural health centers in the United States. If they weren't practicing yoga, they were teaching it or hosting one of the many well-known yoga masters who came over from India to stay as guests in our home. I had the privilege of studying directly under some of the world's greatest teachers. In time, I grew into an accomplished yoga practitioner and teacher in my own right, very adept at looking and sounding like a real yogi. I could recite the Yoga Sutras, call out any pose in Sanskrit, balance as still as a statue, and bend my body into the fanciest of poses. And yet, something was missing. I was strong, I was supple, I looked healthy, I was in great shape, but there was a greater sense of meaning and purpose lacking in what I was doing. Somehow it all felt like I was just going through the motions, which, it turns out, I was. What was missing in my practice and in my teaching was power. Not power over others, which is how we typically define power, but a power that was generated from within. I woke up and saw that I needed to access a new kind of power to elevate not just my practice on the mat, but my entire life. After that realization, my whole life opened up. I went through many transformations, breakdowns, and breakthroughs. I discovered my authentic voice and began to teach not through the filter of rote knowledge, but from my own authentic process of inquiry and discovery. All of this led to the development of the methodology I teach today. I've written 5 books, taught hundreds of thousands of yoga enthusiasts, I've trained thousands of yoga teachers all over the world. Through it all, what matters most to me is that they and you are awakened to their own sense of power and possibility and their ability to apply it, live it, and be it in all things on the mat and off. So in this book, I offer you a look into my classroom and share the essential lessons and insights I have excavated and cultivated from my own teaching and coaching experiences with real people dealing with real life. Applying the proper form and alignment of yoga poses is, of course, important. But this book is about what goes on for you after you take the pose, in what I call the receiving pose. What goes through your mind? What stops you or inspires you? What tools can you use to empower your poses and your practice right now? What if you completely altered how the pose occurs for you? And through the pose, we're able to transform how life shows up for you. The mystery and challenge of yoga is that much is discovered through a rigorous physical practice, yet its greatest power lies beyond the realm of the body. Yes, at its most basic, yoga is a series of physical poses, but a practice aimed solely at physical thresholds is limiting. You might be strong or flexible or able to stick a beautiful handstand in the middle of the room, and that's fulfilling and impressive on one level, but ultimately, so what? I love the feeling of being strong and in shape as much as anyone else. But as I've learned, it's incomplete. Having a masterful yoga practice is about creating a whole new paradigm for yourself as a human being, not just a human body. The work you do on the mat facilitates your whole life. When you transform on your mat, you transform your vitality and your viewpoint. It's the same you in the same body against the same landscape of life, only you have a new vantage point. As you transform yourself as the seer, everything about how you show up in the world and how the world shows up for you is altered. The ultimate goal for any yogi is to make the highest call at each step. We do this by creating what I call true north alignment, the state of holistic integration in which your body, mind, breath, and life energy are wholly united and aimed into your greater purpose,